And now we will finally create an application with classic ASP technology such that, well, you can use this more or less as a model for your own application. So you can use this example such that you identify those controls that you have in your own application, and you just place them inside here in the form area. And then well, rest of your HTML that you have, you can have it as static if you have some, and also the CSS you just include in the project. But let's gradually build this software line by line, and I will do the same here with my own device. Okay, let's first add into this current solution a new project, or actually it's not necessary to add a new project. We can also add a new page to an existing project. Actually we can have a look at those both options. So now we have here this Hello World project, that is a web application project, and we have this page Hello World 10 here. And in one project we can have more than one page. That's typical, and probably in your application there will also be more than one page, not necessarily, but can be. And we can add a new page right here in the same way as we added the first one. So this is one way how we can do the application. And now let's give this page a suitable name that fits with our application. So I will call this as calc sum as classic ASP. Okay, this goes along with this name that I use on the slides if you want to use the slides as a model for your work. Okay, and then I just click OK here. So it creates one more page to this same application, and then I right click here, and I make this page as the start page. So whenever I launched this application Hello World 10, so then this page will be shown first. So now we can start gradually building our application, and at first we will add in here in the form part something. So we will say that whenever this form is being submitted, so we will be using the method post for it, and I will explain what this means later. We just have to simply specify that as well. And then the action part is very important, because this specifies the page to which this page request goes from this page. And in this case we want that the request will be directed to the very same page where we leave from. So these controls that take the two numbers that the user gives will be on the same page where the result will appear. So that's why we have the same name for this page here as is the name of this current page we are editing. Okay, and then we can go inside the div here, and in here we create these input controls. We call this text1, and it will be the text box. I will use capital T here just for compatibility. I name this also with the same name, so it will be text1 as a name, and then the value. Value for this. I just leave this as a 0 now, so it will be by default it will be 0, and then I will define the type, which now in this case of course is text type, so it will be a text box in which user can write something. And I will need 2 of these, so I copy paste this row here and then just rename these ID and name, so they are number 2. And in between those I will create the button that has the label plus in it, so it will be input control as well, and the name will be button 1, and in this case the type is submit. Okay, so it means when I press this button it will make the submit call to the server, and the value of this is the text that is being shown on that button, and that will be plus, so it will show the plus sign there. And now I think I'm finished with this, so I can close my tag. Hopefully it's okay. So 3 controls, and then I put one more control here outside the form. So this is the result text box where I should be writing that result. So I actually copy paste one more time my text from here, and put it 3, name is 3, and otherwise it should be the same. Okay, so now all these text boxes, they have value 0, and we can now just have a look at how it shows on the well, if we run this. So currently there is no C# code anywhere in our application, so I just simply run this, and it takes some time to start the server, but when it's started then I should see something like this. Now obviously it doesn't work because I did not yet write there the logic, but now you can see what happens if I fill these text boxes here up, and then I click plus here. So it will always make these controls again in a 0 value, and that's because I do that here on purpose. So every time a new page request does, all this code is rerun, and that will return these values as 0. And this is now again it's referring to that concept of statelessness. So my user interface and this application, they are separated, and whenever I make a page request to this page, if I don't actively do something here on my page, on this back-end code, these values will always be returned back to 0, and that's something we have to do something for that if we want to maintain those values there. All right, but next we will start doing some parts that will require us to apply some C# code, and we add the first C# segment here in the beginning, right above the not going to do any assembly here, but just simply these tags, opening and closing, and between those I will write some C# code. And what do I want to do here? Here I want to extract from the page request. I want to extract the values that the user wrote into those controls, into those text boxes. And I can do it with this request object. So request.form. This is now the object that contains the values of all those controls that are located inside the form. And I can have an access to individual controls by just simply mentioning the name of it. So okay, I have the name of the first text box is text1, and you can see here I can also use some integer number here. So instead of this I could also use an integer number here, namely all these controls inside the form, they are enumerated as well. So I could, if I just know the order of them, I could use these ordinal numbers here as well. But in this case, okay, this using the name is I think better idea, because then I know what I'm really doing. And now remember this, all the information in the web form is in text format. also those numbers that I write into those text boxes. That's why if I want to calculate the sum of the two values inside those text boxes, I need to convert them into double values or integer values. If I just rely on that the user only applies integer values there as well. And then okay, do this for both, and then I can calculate the sum of them. So I take the text box 1 and text box 2 and sum them together. And what should I do with this? I want to save this as a value of a variable, which would be a variable called result. I give it the value here, initial value, but it doesn't matter. Actually, I will replace that value right here. Okay, so now I'm introducing the variable here, and then I will give some value to that variable. And let's have a look at this. So actually we could now already use this value here, since this is now the result box where I'm supposed to write that output that comes from this program. So okay, whatever is the result of this this calculation, and since it's going to be referring to this variable, which is a C# type, I need to place this variable value inside this C# code blocks. And I can do it with the equal sign and then say result. So now it will replace anything here with the current value of the result. And let's see what happens now. Let's see what happens. So okay, notify that I did not close my application. It's still running, and if I look at the browser, it looks like this. So, and I don't have to shut down my server. I simply save this file. I save this file like this. I have the server is still running. I go to my browser, and then I just reload the page. Okay, I reload the page, and then I get some answer to here. Okay, I don't know where this come from. Maybe it had some previous values. Let's see if I get anything reasonable from this. So if I put here 3 and 5 and then plus here, okay, seems to be calculating correctly. Probably it had some previous values in the memory. So it seems to work. Okay, if I put here some values, I will always get the result. But again, you notify that these values are returned back to 0. And why? Well, because I did not do anything to it, anything to the statelessness. I have to actively do something for it if I want to replace these values with the previous value, with those values that the user wrote here when the user made the previous request, page request to the server. So I have to go back to my code, and now I have to replace these here with something reasonable, something that comes from the form, right? So I will do the same as I did with this result here, but now this time I will not replace it with the variable, but with a call to method. So I will call convert to double, and what do I convert? I will convert this very same thing I have here. So I will go and read this request form again and find okay, I think here I should have text 2, otherwise I will be swapping the values like this. Okay, and then do the same, of course, for the text box 1. Copy, paste, make this text box 1, and now I can experiment again. I will save my file, and then I go here and I reload my page. Okay, so now you notify I get 5 and 6 back here. If I change this, put 8, I put here 10, click plus, I will get answer 18, and these previous values will stay here, so they will not disappear because I now actively rewrite them in on the places. Okay, I need to do this because of the statelessness. Right. And okay, so let's experiment one more time, so that now I will close my application. I close it completely and then restart it. Okay, so now it's been restarted, so it seems to be working. If I write here 6, if I write here 9 and then click here, yes, it works fine. One thing though that you should probably know, namely now when I'm doing the very first request to this page, something weird might happen. So if I close this one more time, and then I will select this Hello World 10 as a start page instead. Okay. So it takes some time now to launch. Okay, I didn't launch it yet. Now it's launching. So I get this Hello World response here, and since I have this page here, so I can go to browser now, and instead of, because the server is running, it's the same application, I can make a request to this second page here. And if I go there, so this is how I can navigate between two pages in the same application. But sometimes you may have to do some specific thing for the very first request to the page. So if I just stop this one more time, so now this worked because I did have some values on these places here, but on the very first request for the page, the text boxes might also stay empty, and if I want to make sure that okay, these boxes here would not have any value in case I'm navigating to this page from some other page, because they simply don't exist yet. So in that case I might need to do some trick to avoid my application to terminate abnormally. And one way how I can know how if the page is being requested for the first time or not is to add here an if statement, where I'm testing if my web page has any controls yet. So I just want to make sure that there are controls on my page, and I only do this if it has controls. So if they don't exist there, then of course this doesn't make any sense. Now actually, if I have initialized the result with 0.0, then actually I can do so that I'm doing this only if it's more than 0. So only if the number of the controls on my form is more than 0, then I will do this. And this is just to play safe, so that my program will not die because of this simple failure here. And I just want to make sure everything still works, so I make my calculator as the start page and rerun my code one more time. And at least they show as 0 here now, and then if I make these some values, it seems to be working all right.